Boyfifty by that money, ho.
Hello and welcome to Token TV Plus with me, Tom White, and as ever, I'm joined by Crypto C. How are you, Crypto C?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Well, I'm very good because we've got two excellent guests. Really looking forward to what they've got to say, actually. It's a welcome to Markus Mywald. You okay, Markus?
Yes, fine. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. And Memnon as well.
Yeah, hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too as well. Okay, I tell you what, let's just crack on straight onto this because the listeners will want to know who you are and what your backgrounds are.
Sure. Well, let me start. My name is Chris, or Christian Bruins. Full. People will know me online as Memnon. Perhaps a bit about my background. Started out in the gaming industry way back. Co-founded my own game development studio and helped develop some ranking and statistics portals. And after that, I went into the business-to-business internet world. Worked mostly on co-location, data center stuff, but also was involved with some channel software development and distribution. And most recently, I was working in product management and exploring new business. So that's my background.
Yeah, okay, right. Lots to get into with that. And Markus, what about you?
Yeah, well, in 2000 I started configuring computers. It started with doing the stuff for neighbors, and then it later ended up becoming a system administrator and entrepreneur. So while I was studying electrical engineering and knowledge engineering, I set up my own company and did websites and get into data centers later. And yeah, this is the technical background I have, and then came Bitcoin, which basically changed everything. Yeah, and now I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, so how did you get into that? Because I mean, you've both got quite a CV there, but how did you get into crypto?
I heard about Bitcoin in 2011. I was immediately fascinated because I understood that this trustless system is going to change a lot. At that time, I didn't, that's maybe my biggest mistake, I didn't invest that much. So, but okay, I had the second chance in 2014, and from that date, everything went quite fast. I got deeply into it, expanded my enterprises more to the crypto field, was able to hire developers, taking over more jobs, and yes, and then everything evolved like it is today. Yeah, it was kind of a roller coaster.
Yeah, well, crypto, see, we hear that a lot, don't we? People saying, yeah, maybe the problem is we didn't invest enough at the time.
Yeah, generally that's the ongoing theme. I feel pretty much exactly the same. When Bitcoin was at like £60, I should have bought loads and loads, but oh well, never mind. Here we are.
Yeah,
well, you live and learn. And do you prefer Christian or Memnon?
Christian is fine.
Christian, right? I mean, what was? Did you get into it in a similar way?
Yeah, well, even later. I just came on the scene last year, sadly. So I missed all of the great investment opportunities you guys had. Part of my job was to explore emerging technologies and see if new business was possible. So I was looking at things like augmented reality, machine learning, quantum computing, and stuff. So also blockchain passed the review, and it passed the review a couple of times, and I wasn't lucky enough to spot its big impact early. But I did read through a lot of the white papers of projects that came out, and then I stumbled upon IOP. I visited their Telegram and Discord, and I was actually pleasantly surprised by their scope and vision, but also mainly by the ability of the community to treat me like, how should I say it, is an individual human being. So they didn't only answer my questions about the project, but they actually took some time to talk to me and get to know me. And from that point on, I was sure I wanted to help out with this IOP and libertarian movement.
Well, when you say IOP and libertarian, we'll start on IOP. What actually does that stand for? And can you just explain what it is? Because to people like me, I mean, Crypto C is the expert here in terms of Token TV Plus, whereas I'm not. Can you explain to someone like me what IOP is?
Sure. So IOP is a blockchain, but it's not just a blockchain. We have the crypto part, we have wallets and all of that you find in any other project. But we're also a digitally cooperative community, and what we're mainly trying to do is creating an infrastructure for decentralized apps, or dApps as you call it. And what we want to do is connect that infrastructure to individuals and communities and projects worldwide that are in need of this decentralized apps. So apps free of centralized control, apps where app developers don't have to pay 30% to Apple, apps where communication, sharing, trading, any form of interaction, basically, in the broader sense, is done without middlemen. So we're building that infrastructure. That's basically IOP.
Yeah. That's you can see the benefits of what you're doing, definitely. But you also mentioned there libertaria. What's that got to do with it? And can you explain that to me as well in a simple way?
Well, that's maybe more a question for me, although I'm somewhat the founding father of IOP, but the libertarian movement is something that has a different scope. It is more a social thing. It has socio-economic goals, and it tries to address all these questions that the big change that blockchain is bringing into the world and the future economies. It's trying to address those questions that evolve around that are till today not answered. I mean, what do you think is happening if a government crumbles and the blockchain is wiping away banking sectors? Yeah, nobody's thinking about that. Yeah, and libertarian, we are trying to aim those questions, and we are building today the technology and the protocols that prepare for these moments. And IOP, in that sense, is the community that understands these questions already. As you heard, it's not just the blockchain. So here comes the synergy and our connection in handy. And in Libertaria, for example, we are going to address the problems that are based around the decentralized society. That is basically the goal. We want to build a decentralized society and want to go away from those blocks, big nations, the UN, monopolies, centralistic authorities that basically treat everything and every human and every animal just as a thing in the system. Let me briefly explain what the decentralized society is based on. This is a theory which is quite new. I haven't invented it completely, so my work is based on the shoulders of giants, of course. But what we stated in the last, what we in the last year could how do you say it, could build and could describe are the 4 pillars of a decentralized society. This is how we call it. The number one, you need to be able to communicate freely, securely, without censorship, right? This is where IOP is having their biggest focus in. We call this Project Mercury. The second pillar is when we are able to communicate freely, we like to trade, we like to make business, we like to find agreements. Yeah, and here we are talking about law. How would you define a law system based on blockchain when you don't have the government anymore, for example? This project is called Themis, and if we communicate freely, we agree and build contracts and agree on those contracts, then we have to build the stuff that we agreed on or deliver the services that we agreed on. This is the decentralized production part. So the production will later be influenced by AI, by agents, by drones, delivery. This is a huge, broad field where robotics came into, and the whole IoT stuff. So, and once we can deliver the goods or the services that we agreed on and communicated freely, then we of course have either to pay for it or give some energy reward, whatever. So here we have the tokenized economy that comes into the field, and this is called the Project Hydra. That is the blockchain of the next generation that we are trying to build in Libertarian.
It sounds to me like it's very forward thinking, which is definitely a good thing. But I mean, Crypto C, how impressed have you been with what's happening here with Markus and Christian?
The thing that's always got me about IOP, which has obviously been carried forward onto Libertaria, it's as well as the scope of the plans and the ambition of the plans, and not only that, but the mindset of the plans. Because at the moment, a lot of crypto is trying to be shoehorned into current regulation. A lot of crypto is trying to fit itself into the legacy world. And people are kind of realizing, okay, we've got this technology with the ability to do things that the old system cannot control. So what we really need to do is start to build a whole new system. And that's what Libertaria is aiming to do in real layman's terms. So like, that's all well and good. But the real strength for me about the IOP project is the amount of developers and the caliber of the developers that they also have there. So you can read white papers, and there have been plenty before, and plenty of people with this type of ambition to say, okay, we're going to do the next greatest thing. We're going to go and do this, or we're going to go and do that. And then you go and speak to the teams and you realize that they've got 2 developers. When you'll go to a place like IOP and it's packed. They've got like a small nation's worth of developers, and they're actually already building things that they are actively going out and implementing. There are things that are being implemented now for the future. For me, it's one of those crypto projects which is more about humanity and seems to be doing more for humanity than it's really making financial profits. So it's not one of those projects which has really skyrocketed, but then turns around that there's nothing really behind it. Like, say, a BitConnect, where self-interest is pushing people. This one is really much more about humanity and building a better future. And once people really start to realize and understand that these are the sorts of projects that will take us into the future, then I think crypto on the whole will be in a much better place.
I mean, Markus, answer a lot of questions that I wanted to ask there, really succinctly and very well. Markus and Christian, who specifically would IOP and Libertaria be for?
Well, in the case for IOP, to keep it really simple, it's for the dApps. It's for the dApp developers, and it's building on top of the technology and the protocols that Libertaria is providing for us. So if you got a service that you're providing, or if you've got a great idea for an app right now, you have to think about it in a decentralized way and in a dApp way. You want to place that on our infrastructure and you want to work with us so that your dApp reaches the maximum potential. So any developer, any open source community minded developer really should reach out to us and come to us. And obviously people that want to use those dApps.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. So what technologies IOP and Libertaria built?
Well, let me briefly go into. I don't want to confuse the listener now with all the different project names. As you heard, the scope of the project is huge. Personally, when we started outlining this, I thought this will probably take us 7 years to build. We are now in year 2, but the good thing is we already have something that is ready. For example, Project Mercury. This is the first pillar of a decentralized society. That is the free peer-to-peer censorship-resistant communication. And on top, also, we can deliver storage. I give you a rough example. People will be able to chat freely, send cryptos with their wallet, and can even store information or any kind of data on whatever the Mercury protocol envisions for them. For example, the stuff can be stored on from everything from Amazon Web Cloud, Google Cloud to the Bitcoin blockchain, IOP blockchain. It can be stored in graphs. It can be stored on IPFS, the decentralized file system. So this Mercury thingy is basically ready for developers to look into. We have an SDK which is being finished at this moment, where people can start developing apps for. This is what Christian was talking about, the dApps. So this is coming. The second thing that we have ready, and this is really exciting, this is Titania project. Titania is a little tiny box, and we want to make Titania being the crypto OS, the crypto operating system. On Titania OS, it's a Raspberry Pi at this moment. Later, we will port it to different devices. Imagine you have a little, like a TV set-top box, yeah? You have it at home behind your TV. You can fire up the screen. You can access your wallets, different wallets. You can access all dApps that are loaded in our dApp store, which is also in the making. You can stake coins, yeah? This is also very exciting. POS coins can be staked. We will reveal in the next crypto conference staking enabled Titania box for PIVX, for Navcoin. IOP will run on it. Later, I can envision that we have maybe Muse TV or some other TV application running on it, so you can watch TV with that box. So this is basically ready too. So we see it as a call for developers. You can now join Titania project and build your cool apps on top. Then we have Hydra. This is the fourth pillar of this decentralized societies, the economy part. Here we are already advanced. Currently, we are building the consensus, which is based on Algorand. Algorand is, to my opinion, the successor of what Bitcoin should have become. Dr. Mikali was developing several years on that, and we hope that we have a prototype to present on the crypto conference soon. Then Themis, this is the law project with putting contracts and smart contracts and law systems on the blockchain. This is a project that currently is since 2 months in the making. We finished the planning state, and I'm going to execute this now. And for IOP, and then, then we have the project Athena. Athena is education. So we want to educate people based on blockchain. You can, for example, certify courses, put the exams onto the blockchain so the people can prove that they learned it, but you don't need the university for this anymore, for example. This project will be kicked off end of summer, and here we have a partner, the University of Nayarit in Mexico. They have over 30,000 students, so they're not small, and they will dedicate a huge amount of their resources to develop this project together with us. So exciting stuff is happening here. Also, we are looking in the future into virtual reality, augmented reality. This is where we need the IOP community. They will help us there. So that, for example, you can point to your neighbor and through the Mercury protocol, you can access his public profile and you can see if he's currently playing tennis or what he's doing or what was his latest post on Facebook, stuff like this. This is something this will be big next year. So you see, it's a multi-year project. In IOP, we are currently developing a new consensus mechanism, which is based on swirls, and we take there the hash graph variant from. So you see what a lot of people are talking about now about graphs, about hashes, hash graphs, and we take basically this and try to extend it and make it more free. So in our consensus, you don't have a consortium of big industries that basically tell what is true and what is not on a blockchain. This is exactly the opposite thing of a blockchain. But in our version in IOP, we will open this up so that nodes can join, anybody can join and take part in this consensus mechanism. Yeah, and a lot more, but I don't want to...
I mean, Christian, what Markus just said there, I mean, it really does sound to me like, I mean, it's literally could well be changing the world. Is that fair to say?
No, it's a humongous ambition, and I hope it does change the world. The possibility is there, absolutely, and I think the need is also there. Whether we'll succeed depends on the focus of many people that are currently in the project, and hopefully many more that will join. But we're already, as Markus said, underway more than 2 years. We're already delivering a lot of stuff we set out to be. So I'm sure that in the coming time we'll reach more of our goals, and that will certainly change a lot of stuff for a lot of people.
Yeah, in Crypto C, listening to that there, I mean, what Markus was saying, I was writing down notes as he was talking. I was actually completely wowed by it. Was that the same for you as someone who has more of a knowledge than me?
Yeah, it's weird with these guys. Anytime I come into contact with them, they surprise me with something else that they've already done. So I remember the last time I attended one of their conferences, it was a small meetup at the beginning of the year, and they were showing me about the profile. They've got these things called profile servers, and then the governance mechanics that they've got behind that. And it's so close to being complete. It's unreal. The work that they're putting in is awesome. And then just there where Markus was saying about the educational platform and it already having a home with 30,000 students, like that's so far ahead of a project, let's say like BitDegree, which is quite well brought up. But as far as like students are concerned, they're nowhere near as advanced as Libertaria already is. So to me, I think one of the main things is that not only are they building all these great things, but they're not building them in abstract. They're not taking a bunch of nerds, computer geeks, putting them in a quiet room and saying, this is how we're going to change humanity. They're actually going out into humanity, applying what they've built, and then if it does need changing, if there are tweaks, if there are problems, then they're actually building something that is ready to go. So it's kind of like the old Formula One versus road-driven cars. Do you know what I mean? So you can build all these amazing things, but will it work on the road? Will it work with humanity? And that's, for me, that's the wow factor, that they're actually doing these things.
Yes, so Markus there, Crypto C, talking about how you're basically kind of testing these things out and seeing how it's worked. What obstacles have you come up against and had to go back and adjust?
Well, yeah, let me. I have here in Crypto C. Thank you for your hints. But let me say one example. He's absolutely right. We are testing this in the wild, and I can give you an example how we are thinking, how we apply this stuff, and what maybe is the reason why we are not being hyped outside in the crypto world. We built this profile server thingy, and last year in autumn, late autumn, we were not satisfied with that. So learning by doing, we're doing here a new technology. We are sailing here on uncharted waters. Nobody built this before. And a lot of obstacles came while developing, came up. And at one point we had to say, okay, this will lead us either to nowhere or it will just be pain in the ass over the next years. So we made the decision to make a cut, to start all over, to switch the developing language. We switched from Java to Rust to make it thread safe, memory safe, and all these features. And so our developers first had to learn a new language. Although this is maybe not the biggest one, but you see how much efforts we are putting into that and how serious we are. We announced it to the community, take it or leave. Basically, this is how we have to go forward to realize and to finish this vision. It's not possible with the old code stack. We have to move on. And a lot of people were, of course, not happy with it because their question is, when moon or when next exchange, and this is something that we are not aiming at. We don't care that much about this as we are self-funded. So since the last 6 months, we were basically reinventing the whole wheel, but put it on a new technology, a better stack, and today we are really proud of it. So in 4 weeks we are going to.
I think we might have just lost.
I think we lost Markus.
We've lost Markus. Markus will end up coming back onto this.
Sure.
Onto this. You just need to press a button. But Christian, maybe you can carry on because
sure.
What he was saying there is what the listeners want to hear. Is amazing.
Yeah, it is, and well, just to catch on to a story. One of the things that is really important in that process of learning is the current chapter system that we have in IOP and the IOP community. So what we have is currently a permissioned proof of work, meaning that only chapters can mine. They get a mining license in IOP. And for that, we asked them to be our boots on the ground, basically. So we've got representation in over 30 countries right now, worldwide. And continuously, all of these chapters are trying to make connections to real-life situations, such as the university, but also different kinds of projects, really testing out the waters for this new technology that we're building. And through that and through the interaction with Libertaria and our own developers, we learn and we really find.
Yeah, and I think Markus is back. You back, Markus?
Hey, yes, I'm back.
Excellent. Right, good. Sorry, we lost you there, but Christian picked up on what you were just saying there. So I'll tell you what I want to move on to is something that gets asked quite a lot, and that is about the current legal climate. I suppose this is a question for all three of you. What are your thoughts on the current legal climate?
Yeah, okay. So to my opinion, or let's say I'm quite worried at the moment about the legal climate. As Crypto.C said, everybody is trying to put blockchain onto the old world and pressing it into the legal frameworks of the old world, just to be compliant, just to make money and be successful. That is basically the reason they are afraid to run or to fight against the old system. While we are saying we don't want to fight anybody, and we are not fighting the old system, we are not stupid. But to change, you need to try something new, and you just have to take a new path. And this is what we are doing. While I see most of the blockchain projects out there trying to walk on the old path, and this doesn't fit. One example is Hashgraph. It is an exciting technology, revolutionizing in many aspects, and then they put a consensus on top, which is regulated, but which is controlled by consortium of a big giant computer tech companies all around the planet. And if in one country now this and that is illegal, then they go into the blockchain and change it, alter it. So it's not immutable anymore. So what sense makes it to run a decentralized database, which is slow, which has many disadvantages compared to a normal database, when it is suddenly immutable and you can change history? about the current developments, most projects put it into a legal framework just to be able to make money, to raise money, to address the old institutions. And this is something that we don't, well, to change something, you have to walk a new path. So we go the path without the legal framework wherever is possible, and wherever we can avoid being in touch with governments or legal issues.
Yeah, and do you agree with all of that, Christian?
Yeah, absolutely. And the word that stuck with me the most was worrying, and that's the one thing that I find as well. It's worrying, but I look at it more from the people perspective. I look at all the countries and governments that are either causing fear for individuals or even criminalizing their participation in this new technology field. That's worrying to me. I want as much people to have the liberty to participate in this exciting new era of technology and society. So I hope governments will end up opening up more towards that, but it's not to be expected.
It looks different, though. Huh? The governments are going and trying to domesticate this beast, putting it into their legal framework, creating new legal frameworks just to keep the old power systems intact, just to have centralized, monopolized things going on. And this is really worrying.
Well, see, Crypto, I do want to ask you about this, actually, because why is there such an opposition to crypto in general? I mean, you're talking there about the government. There does seem to be not just skepticism, but opposition to it.
I think maybe a lot of lessons were learned with the whole copyright issue that Hollywood suffered, whereby technology kind of came about and nobody kept an eye on what technology was coming about. And then by the time the genie's out of the bottle, there's no way for them to reverse it. And I think a lot of governments are really worried about losing absolute control over finance, which kind of historically has been a way that they've kept their citizens in check. And I think that's the real worry. But it's not a uniform worry. Not all governments are not thinking the exact same way. There are some places where they're not so interested in controlling their citizens, or they've got less citizens, or they're more interested in the financial profits or the technological benefits. So it's a difficult question to answer if you try to place governments into one particular box, because there are different aspects. Some are trying to stop it, but at the same time, there are some who are embracing it. Yeah. And it's the ones that are embracing it, I think, that will do better in the next 3 to 5 years.
Well, Crypto, see, maybe in a future Token TV Plus, we'll go into that one in more detail. But Christian, Markus talked about this, but I just want to ask you specifically how you manage such a large and varied community.
Yeah, it is a large community indeed, and it's global. And well, the word manage to me sounds a bit corporate, and we're not a company that's managing something. It's really an effort of teamwork. So we're truly a decentralized cooperation organization. We allow people to enter freely. They can do so, for instance, in our Discord. All it requires is a basic introduction of themselves, and then they can interact with our community. And often they find their own way to contribute to the community. And well, if you can even speak about managing, it's remarkably easy to manage it, because all the people that are on board currently are so self-driven, and they share common goals and common values. So all the energy is generally directed into the same direction, and that really helps us to push it forward. So it's really a team effort.
Yeah, it is fascinating. I mean, Crypto C and I mean, talking to Crypto C about this, having me not met the two of you, it's just absolutely amazing what you're talking about. And I think this next question I've got to ask, I really want to hear the answer from either of you, but maybe to you first, Markus. How do you imagine the life of a person, just any person, in 3 years' time? Let's just say 3 years. You can change that if you want, using these technologies.
Oh, well, in 3 years, our project is still not finished. We are currently then building the last missing pillar and some side projects that are important to get there. But in 3 years, a lot of water went down the Nile River. So I think people in our community will have a complete different life than people in the normal old world there. People in our community already today are quitting their jobs and switching to full-time work on this project and getting financed by the blockchain, basically, and the side project that they are generating. So in 3 years, people interact freely, communicate without censorship barriers. People from China, Iran, Pakistan, India will communicate with people from the Western world without any borders. They will interact freely, and the most important thing, they will be able to make contracts, to trade, and they will already use Hydra as our economy system. So that means they can send money to each other, transfer values without borders, without boundaries, without anti-money laundering, know your customer, and all these legal framework stuff. So basically they have better opportunities, are more free, and have more choices in their life, and will be hopefully more happier.
I definitely wasn't over-exaggerating when I said that you two are changing the world at the moment. Christian, where can people go to find out more about IOP and Libertario? Because they'll want to after listening to this.
Sure. There's two basic websites where you can go, IOP.global and Libertaria.world. And from those, you can find links to our Discord, our Telegram. I can really recommend joining the Discord. It's a joint Discord between the Libertarian Movement and IOP. So we're all in there. Devs are in there as well. And as I said before, you can just speak to us. We're human beings, and we always respond to any request that we get. That's maybe something that you won't find in different communities in this crypto scene. So IOP.global, Libertaria.world, and join the Discord, basically, and our Telegram. And maybe a good thing, you can also meet us in real life. There's a conference coming up the 16th and 17th of June in Berlin. You can find the link on our website as well. And so if you want to meet up, it's free to join. You can meet us in Berlin.
Oh, because so that conference is going on in Berlin, June the 16th and 17th. And yeah, you're giving all those websites there. So that'd be fantastic to hear more from you, actually. I'm just looking at my diary to see what I'm doing on those dates. I'd love to get out there. Crypto C, is there anything else that you want to add before we thank our excellent guests today?
Yeah, just thanks for coming, guys, and thanks for working so selflessly on such a noble project. And yeah, I'm hopefully going to be at the conference in June as well. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Apparently there's something else going on in Ireland, but no one cares about that. All eyes and all roads lead to Berlin. And
Crypto C, will Token TV Plus pay for our hotel and expenses if we go out to Berlin?
You'll have to speak to the boss about that. I'm not in a position to make that call, sorry.
Right, well, Markus and Christian, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on Token TV Plus. Really enjoyed speaking to you today. Best of luck on your forthcoming ventures. And Crypto C, what have we got coming up in the next few weeks on Token TV Plus?
Well, yeah, we're looking to have some more projects on. We're looking at Smart Cash and AdBank. So, yeah, keep your eyes peeled for those.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Boyfifty by that money.